Hello, everyone. Um, okay, spoiler alert. Okay, so I always get the question, or maybe the comment, that paintings look real. Like, okay, I uploaded on Newgrounds, and they're like, I literally thought you uploaded a photo, and then they click on it and they see all the textures and everything. It's like, clearly it's not a photo. And that's not bragging. That's just saying what happened. And let's just hit play on this video just for some fun visuals. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be a great video if I was able to articulate why my images look like photos? And it's kind of a cool style, ain't it? You know, where it looks like a photograph, but then you look at it again and then you see all the different impressionistic impressionistic strokes. So that's kind of like my goal, like my style. Like that's what I like. Realism with a hint of impressionism. So it's definitely not textures that's making it look like a photo. What could it be? Well, it's what I think is lighting and color. And more specifically, lighting. I feel like if you can get good lighting down, your drawing doesn't even have to be that good. I'm not the best draftsman, that is. I'm not technically that good of a drawer. But, you know, that's not where my strengths are. I focus mostly on the light and the color and the mood. And so, yeah, that's the reason why they look like photos. If you can get your lighting down, you can make just about anything look realistic. Yeah. I was just thinking if I agree with that statement after saying it out loud. And yeah, that's true. If you can get the lighting down, it's gonna look realistic. So I don't know why this video is so dark, but that's way too dark. That's what I painted. So the trick is to, well, actually, before we go into that, I think I'm going to keep this unedited. You guys tell me what you think about the kind of slower pace, maybe some longer pauses while I think about what I'm going to say. How does that feel? Is that too slow? Is it not good enough? Because, you know, the YouTube game, you need the instant gratifying information now. Because for me, like that, if I'm constantly editing videos, then I'm less likely going to be making them because they just take too much time. But if it's just a raw, unedited video, so I got everything laid out here so I can have everything at my disposal and just go off. All right, let's get off on that tangent and get back to what I wanted to talk about. So, look at these thumbnails. These are all paintings. And they kind of look realistic, right? There's one of me painting my bathroom. You can see that's me sitting in a rolly chair. It looks kind of cool. And I think the lighting's there, and that's why it looks realistic. Not really much lighting on this one, but I did get comments. Well, I guess there is lighting because everything, you can see it. If there was no lighting, then nothing would be there, right? So, but I did get a comment saying that they thought this was a photo, and so, yeah. All these were drawn either from life or from photographs. There's a sack of tomatoes, I think. They don't look like tomatoes, but I'm pretty sure they were tomatoes. Anyways, if you look at it kind of small, it does look like a photo. I don't know if that looks realistic, but it's an oil painting. I thought it was cool, so I wanted to show it off. But all these definitely don't rely on rendering and details, because we don't have all damn day. We work a full-time job. We gotta get the paintings out. We gotta get the stories out as quickly as possible. So I can't just say make your lighting good and expect you to learn something from that. I think but basically it's just saying like that's the reason why it looks like a photo. Now I think some of the key points is before we get into that, Pascal is a man. Look at this right here. This is a pretty cool little piece he did. And I hate whatever this is. What is going on? Just look at it over here. Look at that bike. And look at all this impressionism. This guy is somebody that inspired me a lot. And if you go to his Instagram or ArtStation, if he's got one, or DeviantArt, I don't know, you'll see just endless. I mean, he was doing a painting a day, and they're simple drawings, but I mean, they're actually kind of complex in my opinion. I mean, they just look so simple, but if you try to draw this style from your imagination without referencing him, you're going to realize how difficult it is to pull off. But one thing that he gets well is lighting. And if you look at some of these thumbnails, I mean, it kind of looks like a photo until you really zoom in and look at it. I mean, he's got incredible work, and that's one thing that I realized by his paintings. You know, it's not about the details. For him, it's definitely more about the emotions and the story. And I mean, that is beautiful. But they all have a certain level of realism to them, in my opinion. And yeah, so I wanted to get that in my art. And James Gurney's another guy. He does a bunch of stuff. A bunch of incredible stuff, but some of the most inspiring stuff that he does is his plein air paintings. I mean, look at that. That's like straight up a photograph. When you zoom in on it, obviously it's a painting, but damn, I mean, all of these have so much character and love and realism, and that's what I want to go for. That's what I strive for. So, how do you get realism? That's awesome. How do you get realism? How do you get realistic lighting? Well, right here's your answer. Painting from life. Here's a reference photo of. I painted this from life, and but the cats were gonna be moving, so this was my reference for the cats. So by the time I actually got around to painting the cats, one of them had already left to go lick his butt somewhere, and the white and black one, Link, he was still there, so I was able to reference the lighting on him from real life, but I referenced the photo for his posture and anatomy and all that stuff. And but yeah, one thing you're not going to get from a photo is a full color range and value range. Like, look how dark this is. I mean, all that's just wiped out. In real life, that wasn't the case, but he had already moved, so I wasn't able to get much, but I knew that it wasn't going to be that black. Usually your darkest darks are in the occlusion shadow. Okay, so if we're talking about lighting, the occlusion shadow is the little creases of where objects meet with other objects. And it's the absence of light. So no light can get in here because his body's blocking all of the indirect lighting coming in from the outside. Okay, so I put dark lines right there, and like here in the creases, here, all around here. So occlusion shadows, I think, could definitely help with that level of realism. So be sure to control your values and don't put blacks everywhere. And I say that in like this black right here on the cat is probably the darkest dark. But still, do as I say, not as I do, or whatever. That's probably not even relevant, but his fur was actually really dark for being lit, and I thought that was interesting because usually things that are in light don't get that dark, but his fur, it wasn't. I was studying it from life, and that gave me the answers, and you can't argue with reality. So, that's the thing. You paint what you see, and that's how I achieve a realistic touch. Is I just studied what I observed, and I think by doing that a bunch, even if you're doing it mindlessly, you're gonna pick up things, and you're gonna start incorporating them more and more often. Okay, so moving on, a clear separation from what's in the light and what's in the shadow is a good way to create realism too, a good fundamental of light. So we have a light spot right here, and then that's what's being hit by light. So right here next to it, that's what's in the dark. And then we got this occlusion shadow, remember, from where the screen door is connecting with the this wall here. And then, but right after that, it's going to be another light because that's the same right here. Then we go dark, and then go light, and then dark. And yeah, so I'm keeping my values separated. I'm establishing my value range. So yeah, keep your lights and darks separated, and you should be pretty good. I think beginners often will not really establish a light source, or so everything kind of looks flat. Don't be afraid to make your darks dark and your lights light, but don't make them too dark so that you hide all the details in the shadows. That's one pitfall that I fell into a lot with some of my earlier paintings, is I didn't know the details in the shadow, so I just made them all black, and then there was the absence of detail. And rarely does it get that dark, because usually there's some kind of bounce light to light up that. All right, so bounce light is a fun one. I think bounce light could really help with realism. Bounce light is the light that is, okay, imagine everything's a mirror. Okay. And so with mirrors, it's reflective. It's probably a terrible way to go about this, but surfaces are reflective. So when the light comes down and hits this ground plane, it's going to bounce back up. And that's what, this reflected light. You see how this is a little bit brighter? This isn't the best illustration. This one's a little bit better. You can see how this is lighter. I think there was another one. It wasn't as good. You can see how they did that there. It's because the light is bouncing back up, and you can see this all over the place, like all in the world. Just look at any object anywhere, and you're office space, basically. And you could probably find this in some shape or form. So, here's a good example. You can see how it's a little bit more yellow in here because it doesn't just reflect light, but it also reflects color. So the color of this surface is bouncing back up in here. Let me show you an example. See this wall? Like the light's coming in. And this is something I saw when I was painting this. And I think that the bouncing of this red towel going into the walls and the doors and everything adds a great deal of realism. Like that's like the next level when you understand. Okay, you keep your lights and your darks separated, and you get your occlusion shadows in there. The next level is, okay, now let's add a little bit of bounce light, and that's really what makes these things sing, and adds a level of realism to them. This one doesn't have too much bounce light in it, does it? You know, if the light's hitting here, you know, this is an incomplete shadow. So this is more of a diffused scene, meaning that there is, it's a cloudy, rainy day. So the sun is, instead of this being direct light coming in and then a direct like shadow being cast, well, the light's bouncing all over the place. I'm sure there's a great visual. Diffused light. There you go. The clouds are making the light scatter all over the place. And so when you have that, you don't have you have soft shadows. And if any at all, really. For some reason, this was a little confusing. I had a shadow coming out here, but they didn't have any shadows. So, I don't know. Might have to think on that one. Anyways, so everything was pretty soft, and I was mostly relying on the occlusion shadows and just a subtle, soft shadow underneath and some reflectiveness. Some of the bounce light, you know, this is kind of a greenish tint. Yeah, there's a little bit of green throughout, like there's a little bit right here, and that was me just trying to incorporate some of the colors from the outside on in because the light was hitting everywhere. It kind of just, you know, like this. It was bringing the colors everywhere. So a level of consistency in your color usage and light is key to also realism. If I had a winter scene out here, well, there would be no greens in here for sure. Like it'd be more of a, unless the walls were painted green, but hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. Where did I want to go next? I didn't mean for this to go off on a whole how light works. It's probably pretty boring now. So yeah, work on your lighting fundamentals, and that should help you out. Color and Light by James Gurney will definitely help for sure. So everybody buy this book if you're wondering. If you like this, or even if you liked anything that you saw from James Gurney, if you even like the cover at all, or if you're an artist that wants to learn more about color and light, this is a must-have book for sure. Yeah. Let's see. Was there anything else that I wanted to show you guys? I think I talked about everything. Pascal, James. Oh, we got a new notification. A new follower. Okay, cool. Let's see. Oh, check this out. This is a imaginative piece, and I would say this doesn't look like a photograph. That's the main reason why those others looked like photographs, because I was studying from real life in photographs. So that's the key too. That's a little hidden secret. Anyways, this was a fun project. Should I save this for another video? I mean, is this video getting long enough? This was a fun little project. It took me just about all last month to figure out what I wanted to do. I started out with a thumbnail. Actually, yeah, if you guys want me to talk about this, I'll make it in another video, and I'll explain my process more. Right now, fitting it in this video would be absurd. So let me know, and yeah. Alright guys, well thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.